evening, good night, however y'all want to say that. What's going on, people? We are back. New episode. We drop Tech Tip Tuesdays on Tuesday. Tonight we're back with, this is my favorite. It's Foolish Finance Fridays with a little hint of petty. Yeah, I had to have a little petty in there. I can't do it all on Saturday. So I figured I'd do it on a Friday. All right. Figured I'd do it on a Friday. That's some petty. I don't have no videos today. I'm we're gonna try to get through without the videos. Well, I mean I got videos, but I don't know. It depends. It depends on you. I hope your week has been well. It's been a hell of a week. Condolences to those that have lost their lives this week. Children have lost their lives. Shootings in Nashville. Everybody's going wild on the internet with everybody canceling each other, dropping like fires on YouTube. Y'all mad at each other on stuff. I see y'all out there in the comments on the other channels mad at each other like, oof, slavery didn't exist. Just wild stuff. Oh, out here wilding. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with y'all. What y'all doing on a Friday night? We never start nothing this late. What y'all doing out there? Are you studying? You got your boo thing over? You said, hold up, let me change that. You got your sneaky link over? You in a situationship? You're getting ready to catch a flight in the morning. You got your passport. What we doing? What y'all doing out here? What up, Crystal? What y'all doing out here? You say you don't sneak? We don't believe you, don't. Aren't you a personal trainer too? You know I don't believe. My sneaky link got in the state. You better believe it. No estate, no date. I would say this is Freaky Finance Friday, but I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do Freaky Finance Friday. I ain't gonna do Freaky Finance Friday. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do Freaky Finance Friday. I sure enough could do it, but I ain't gonna do it. Oh, Freaky Finance Friday. I bet you be like, I'll come by your house. I could personal train you at your house. I'll bring the weights and the jump rope. We can start at 6 a.m. Get in early. Mm-hmm. I hear you out there. Oh, Rachel, what you think so far? I don't know which episode are you on. Are you on this episode, Rachel? Was the episode from last week? I don't even remember what episode that is. 68. No lie, I do. Let's get it in early. That way you knock it out the way. Have your smoothie right after that. Then after that, make sure you get your fruit in. Get done with your fruit by 12. No carbs after 12. 2 at the latest. You should be on protein and veggies. And if you doing 2-a-days, make sure on your 2-a-days, after you get done working out, you make sure you stretch and you make sure you soak. Okay? Have a smoothie, put some protein in there. If you're going to have some protein, make sure it's just some chicken, some baked chicken, or some salmon. Don't put too much seasoning on there. Don't eat any rice. Don't do it. Your meal prep should already be done. You know what? I like meal prep and I dislike meal prep because I feel like once I get to Wednesday and I done ate the same thing 3 days in a row, I really don't want it Thursday and Friday. And don't come in there telling me talking about it's discipline. It is not. I just feel like food has been contaminated after three. After 3 days, that food is contaminated. It's something wrong with it. It's growing. It's growing organisms on it. I don't want it. What foolishness did you walk into? You didn't walk into no foolishness. Nothing. What foolishness did you just come from? What foolishness did you just come from? Just don't make it, casual economists. Just don't make it. Just don't make it. Just make enough for them 3 days, and then them other days get something else like a salad or something. Something. It's got to be something different. Trust me, I did it. After a while, I was like, this is nothing. You are allowed to be foolish today. This is Foolish Finance Friday. It is late. You all are here. You could have been somewhere else. You could have been over there talking about just pearly things. You could have been over there. You could have been over there talking about Sarah. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. So, Foolish Finance Fridays. What's the point behind it? Well, the point behind it is one, I wanted to separate not all, not all, some of the petty tea stuff to here where we can actually do a little deeper dive on some topics. But the other piece of it is I wanted a way to discuss just personal journeys and centered around finance, centered around uh, just foolishness when it comes to your finances. What's going on, Sasha? Sasha, you at 300 yet? You should be at 300K. You should be at 300K. I'm depending on you. The woman king of the black ministry. Oh man, it's crazy out here in these streets. I've been listening to these panels in and out and stuff like that, and I've been seeing the video clips and like I I have a lot of words, but I ain't gonna discuss it here. This ain't what we ain't gonna worry about. I say what I gotta say and move on. However, when it comes down to what the goal here is, I want you all to be able to take and look at other people, and they don't have to be celebrities. I will discuss a celebrity night for all intents purposes, but I'm also talking about myself. Sasha, the time is now. I'm also talking about myself. Some foolish mistakes that I have made. I saw that. I saw that done. Let's see, BB said you just finished cleaning, eating dinner, and watching The Shining. Foolishness on a Friday. Is this the original Shining? If you're not watching the original Shining, I will delete your comment. If you ain't watching the original Shining, I'm deleting the comment. Yeah, they got the block hot. Everybody is upset. This, that, and the other. Here's one thing. You know, that you have to understand throughout history. And just look at history. There always has to be somebody leading somebody. I don't care what religion, I don't care what background. There was always some type of leadership, a story, somebody followed, whatever. It's just what it is. Yeah, it got to be the 1980 version. But it's got to, I mean, when it comes down to that, that's just what it is, right? Somebody always has somebody to look up to, right? So, with that being said, um, who are who do y'all look up to financially? Who do you look up to financially? Do you look up to your mom? Do you look up to your dad? Do you look up to a celebrity? Who who do you look up to financially? And when you look at that person, do you model yourself after that person? Right? Do you model your when I say model yourself, I mean like their trajectory, the moves that they made or whatever. Have you investigated that person? Like who do you look up to? What's going on, Natasha? Who do you look up to? Who do you model yourself after financially? Financially. Like, do you desire to be a mogul? Um, I don't know. Anybody. Maybe you desire to be like Taylor Swift. I don't know. Maybe you desire to be like Spike Lee. I don't know. Who do you financially look up to? And those people that you look up financially, can do you have an idea of how long it took them to be successful? Do you have an idea of how long it took to um, the trials and tribulations they went through and how they overcame them? Right. So I'll give you my. Let me see. I can give you one foolish thing that I've done. I've done several foolish financial things. Um, this is back in 2008. I think I told this story before where I set myself up with Edward Jones. I was having money come out of my account buying stock in that. I was buying stock in Amazon, Apple, Clorox, Amazon, Clorox, Microsoft, and there was one more. I only bought five. I bought $100 of each one of them every 2 weeks. So I spent $1,000 a month, and I did it for. I had that account for 3.5 years, all the way till I got down to Florida, and I was buying stocks, buying stocks, buying stocks, buying stocks. But the one thing that was foolish that I would do is once it got to a certain amount, I would like sell them shares. It's time to ball. It's time to ball. I was living in DC. I was like, we about to go to a concert. We about to go hit a trip. We about to go do whatever. Yep, selling ball, right? So why did I say that was foolish? Because at the time, Apple and Amazon, we didn't know that Apple and Amazon would be what they are now. What is it? Just a year, maybe 2 years ago, they was at 3,500, 3,100, right? And I'm buying them at $100 a share. Clorox never got old. What was Apple back in 2008? And I'll tell you in a minute. Apple stock price 2008. Um Apple stock price in 2008 was $2.59. $2.59. I was buying $100 a share. All right, that's Apple. I tell you what Amazon was in 2008. Amazon stock share price in 2008 was $3.48. Say $2.56. Sorry. One says $3.48, but this one says on December 31st, Amazon was $2.56. Right? So imagine what my shares would have been from 2008 until, let's say, 2 years ago, right? Before the split for Amazon, right? Amazon, Microsoft. Let's go look up Microsoft in 2008. Microsoft in 2008 was $14.50 before the billion was going on. Long time no see. $14.50. So I'm buying $100 of each one of those every pay period. So $1,000 a month. I'm just buying. I just buy. I don't switch up. I don't say give me 50 cents. I mean $50 here, $10 there. I'm just buy $100 worth of those shares every time. Right? And so now let's talk about where is how much growth it has had they have had from then until now. Right? How much growth, and you can look all this up. You don't need me to show you. How much growth has Microsoft had? How much growth has Amazon had? Let me tell you what Clorox was, because that's the other one I was in. Because Clorox never goes out. We still buy Clorox. It's a staple. Like if somebody don't have Clorox in their house, you be like, why you ain't got no Clorox? Like, you ain't got no Clorox? You ain't got no Clorox in the house? I say Clorox stock price 2008. Okay, so Clorox stock price 2008. Let me see. They got a graph. Let me look at this graph. So 2008 is this in dollars on the left? I don't know. But here's a chart. All right, so 2008 Clorox was $37.41. Higher than Amazon, higher than Microsoft, higher than Apple in 2008, right? So why am I telling you that? Like D said, fumbled the bag, right? But here's another reason why I'm telling you that. Another reason why I'm telling you that is because really I had no one around me talking about they invested. I knew I should invest, right? I had started I had started looking at Kramer. I had started looking at CNBC in the mornings. I had started looking at stock purchases, attending meetings. I just started that on my own. Nobody else tell me this, that, and other. So what ended up happening was, again, you go ball, you go do these things, you do these things. But it's just like one of those things you're like, man, I'm putting my money in here and I ain't really seeing it like that. But again, a couple of things. Having the right financial advisor, financial planner, explaining things to you, having other people around you that can also that are in the market and doing the things that you're doing, right? So this is why um I actually take it on my own liberty to make sure that as you all make your journey in tech, you also make your investment into tech and your investment into assets so that you don't wait, so that you're not 10 years later and Amazon is sitting at $129 and you're 20 years later and you're like, damn, Now it's $500 or it's $5,000, and I could have been invested in the market and took that growth and just be an investment millionaire and just just be chilling. You don't have to sell off all your shares. You just sell off a little bit of it, put it away, put it okay. You got to the height. Let me put a little away. Just put a little away so I can get that cash out. I got it. It's capital gains, but let me get the height. Let me get some of that and put it away, and then you know, I'll re up like blue magic. I'll re up, right? So again, you all gotta be around people. It's one of the things that are also actively investing. And those people don't have to be your friends; they could be your family. But at least have one other person that you talk to about investing, so y'all can trade ideas, so y'all can have that talk where you have that safety net to have that conversation, right? So drop a one in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about, and also share your stories. What's the foolish thing you have done? I'm sure we all have them. I'm sure we all have a foolish finance moment in our history. What's going on, Afro? Right? Where you just missed out, right? And we could talk about financial literacy in the black community all we want to, but sometimes you just gotta read. sometimes, sometimes you just gotta read, right? Sometimes you just gotta read. And then for some people, it's not just about reading, it's about being around other people that understand those things. So I want to bring on Fridays, like, how do you know, how do you trust the financial planner? What's your goal there? How do you pick one? What does that look like? Right? Um how do you, I don't want to say how you pick a stock, but you know, do most of you even know how to read a prospectus of a stock? Have you attended the voting meetings? Those type of things, right? Trading against my better judgments was one of mine. I got you. Fumbling the bag on the crypto bag. I got you. Right? Is that guy still looking for his crypto wallet in the trash in the trash field? Have y'all seen that? You invested in the hyperverse. I don't even know what the hyperverse is. What's the hyperverse? Let me see if I can find, looking for crypto wallet in landfill. Let's see. Because I know he was still looking for it. Let me share my screen. All right, yeah. A software engineer from Wells who lost about $186.9 million in Bitcoin at a landfill site in 2013 has hatched a plan to recover it. For the past 9 years, James Howells has been attempting to locate the hard drive on which the Bitcoin was stored. He said he gonna get out there and I'm gonna find it. He been looking for it. He been looking for it. He's like, I'm going out there to find it. $189 million. $186 million. He's been looking for it. Right? I can talk about my crypto uh fumble. I got in on mining Bitcoin when it was we was mining it. We had bought some miners, some co-workers, and we was like, we're gonna go all in. We all spent $100. Then we went back and spent $200 on Bitcoin when it was $20, $25. And we was like, well, let's just get 100 of it. We was like, I don't know what it's gonna do. Then we left it and we let it ride, and we was like, Is this thing gonna take off? We don't know. You know. Yeah. And then we sold it. We sold it. We was like, we don't know what that's doing. Moving on to the next thing. We sold it. So I've been on the cutting edge of stuff. Just didn't stick it out. Yeah, not understanding what is presented to you at the moment it comes, and also not believing in taking a risk in something that could be. I remember back in 2013 when I read about Bitcoin. Yeah. Um, the one of the bigger things I also think too is this is I had this conversation today, and I was I say to myself I'm risky, but I don't think I know. I'm more of a moderate risk. My crypto is worse than yours. Hey man, I've been on the cutting edge of a lot of things. I was on the cutting edge of when AWS, when I lived in Seattle, was building AWS. I was on the cutting edge of um, when Verizon and Netflix were building. Right, right. I was on the cutting edge then. Yep. When they were talking about we're trying to build X, Y, and Z, this, that, and other, and this is what it's going to look like, and you're walking through the halls, and you just don't know. You just don't know, right? You don't know. You don't know that Amazon was going to be Amazon. Amazon was still a bookstore at the time. It was still a bookstore. You didn't know Gmail was going to be Gmail. You had no clue. At the time, Gmail was. We were still sending out even invitations for people to even use Gmail, just like they sent out invitations to use Bard. It was like you had to get an invitation and set up your Gmail. That had to be shit. I didn't have. I wasn't even going to that school. It had to be like 2004, 2005. Had to be maybe even 2003. Uh, Let me see. See, yeah, 2004. 2004. Yeah. Yep. The leading email service was launched in beta form in April the 1st of 2004. Yeah, 2004. That's what I thought. 2004, 2005. I was pretty close. Because I had to remember where I was at, what I was doing. I remember sitting down. Tay was like, yo, you got to try this new email service from Google. They got a Gmail service. Want me to send you an invitation? And I think at the time you get 5 invitations, and then they beefed it up to 10, and then they beefed it up to 25. You can have 25 people that you can use and get sent email to. That's how I got my email. It's been that way since I've had that since 2004, right? And you just email people, and that was cool. You didn't know, but what you also didn't know is you didn't know the infrastructure behind it, right? Building out an email service that's around the world. Imagine how many people use Gmail around the world. How much mail, how much data they get in an email, pictures, the whole nine, right? Yep, you should have got access to the Bard, right? So foolish finance, it's I think everybody has done it. Everybody has had a moment in time where they were supposed to stay in something, they didn't do it. You were supposed to buy that land, you didn't. You were supposed to go buy that house, and you didn't. You were supposed to get in on that deal, but you didn't. And you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Most of the time you don't do it because you don't have the knowledge, or you haven't did the research yourself, or or you yourself just didn't feel comfortable and you didn't really know anybody else to turn to, right? You didn't know how anybody else to turn to. So let's get into some Foolish Finance Friday. Let's first up on our foolish moment, number one on our list is your favorite friend, Terrell Owens. The man himself, the one game I went to in Seattle where he scored the touchdown. And I think this is the one where he took out the Sharpie. I think he took out the Sharpie in Seattle and he wrote on it, or he might have took out a cell phone. I can't remember. It's one of the two in Seattle, right? But let's talk about fumbling the bag, right? All right, football star Terrell Owens said these are some of the most idiotic purchases we can make. Pros say avoiding these kinds of expense traps could save you big bucks. Now, we all know that this man has made Financial Friday. He's in Financial Friday Palace. He's made a lot of foolish moments. All right, so let's go. All right, let me blow that up because it looks a little small. Former wide receiver Terrell Owens played 15 seasons, earning an estimated $80 million from salary and endorsements. Well, he lost much of that, he told GQ. And he more recently shared with NerdWallet that after being drafted and witnessing over the top lifestyle of other professional athletes, he got stuck wanting to be like everybody else. And that goes into what I was talking about earlier. I didn't see other people investing or talking about investments or anything of that nature. So naturally, and I'm not using this as a scapegoat, naturally you start to pick up the tendencies of what others are doing when it should be the opposite, that they should be picking up your tendencies because you're forging the way, you're leading down that path. So my goal is for you to have this advice for those of you that are hitting that mark, that 2, that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 million mark, is to make sure you're investing, right? Or at least have your foundation laid out so that when you go and you hit that mark, you're just dropping money in buckets. You're just like, oh, bucket, real estate bucket, ding, crypto bucket, ding. Oh, what is this over here? Is this a trust? Ding. And what do we have here, young lady? Oh, this looks like a hotel investment. Ding. You just straight putting your money in the buckets and you just keep moving on. Now, I'm not saying that you don't do your research. I'm not saying that, but you know, you got things laid out, right? Tax now, tax deferred, tax later, right? All right. So he said he got stuck wanting to be like everybody else, the guys with the Mercedes and all the flashy cars and jewelry. I think those are some of the most idiotic purchases I think players can do, especially when they don't have that money in the bank account really to pay for that stuff. As he noted, my advice for to any fan or athlete out there, just don't live beyond your means. That's simple advice that could help you save money. It's not simple advice because people always say don't live beyond your means. They don't never clarify what they mean by living beyond your means because everybody means is different, right? Somebody may be like paycheck to paycheck is my mean. That's what I do. I get paid, I go ball, and I'm gonna get paid again. That's what I do. That's my means. What do you mean? Right? That's how some people live. And some people are like, yo, I ain't with that life. I'm not with that paycheck to paycheck, right? And then some people are like, you know what? They gave me this credit card. They ain't tell me I had to pay it. I'm running the bill up. Like, so yeah, it's just one of those things, right? So he said that's simple advice that you could give someone, especially now that when many savings accounts are paying more than they have in a decade, well up to 4%. You can see the best savings account rate, blah 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 blah, right? So let's drop down here. He said, pros say living beyond your means is common for many of us and can be very costly. What do you think is a lot of money may not really be a lot of money. I say this all the time. Everybody want to get in these conversations. It'd be like $100,000 is a lot of money, and then when you do the math on it and where you living and where you living and the cost of living and so forth and so on, it don't be adding up to a whole lot. All right. It takes more money than you think to generate enough income to sustain yourself and your family in the standard of living you're used to. If you're 40 years old and you have $1 million, then you start working, you can only spend $30,000 per year. Where you living at on $30,000 per year for the rest of your life, right? Hopefully your car is gonna run well, your house is paid for, and you just chilling, right? It says, but you run the risk of running out of money, says a certified financial planner, right? How to ensure you live within your means. Learning to live within your means is key way to achieve financial stability, right? The best part is it scales. The more you make, the more you can spend. Just learn not to spend more than you make. Here's how to live within your means. How many of y'all, I asked this before, have y'all calculated your net worth? Calculate your net worth. And what do you want your net worth to be? Calculate your net worth. Do you know how? I know I've talked about it several times. Calculate your net worth, right? Sometimes people think they have a lot of money because their income is high. Now we talked about this. What did I call it? What was the article saying? Your income rich, but your I think you were net worth poor, right? You had a high income, right? There's plenty of people out here that make two, three, four, five, six, seven, $800,000, right? But they don't have no assets. So you just got a high income, right? All right. But calculating your net worth can really help you understand what you have, where you might be falling short at on paying down debt and saving for emergencies, retirement, and other goals. Add up the value of everything you have that you can sell, including stocks, bonds, funds, bank accounts, saving bonds, and your house. These are assets. Then add up the amount of money you owe on mortgages, credit card debt, student loans, and any other loans. These are your liabilities, right? Assets over liabilities. Assets over liabilities. We talked about different assets. We talked about that before. Identify your money goals. Most people should aim to save 15 to 20%. The money guy talks about 25%. But I think you can start off at 15%, like when you're younger, and then as you get older, you push up to 25%. Some people say they save. Well, Granville was in here last week saying he say 60. He could say 65%. Some people can, some people can't. I think everybody's situation, you have to do what's comfortable for you in order to live and survive, right? But the goal should be at a minimum of 15%. I do 25. I do 25. All right. All right. The more you save, the sooner working becomes optional. Now, let's analyze that statement. It says the sooner you save, the working becomes optional. Now, there is an article that came out today right here, and I want to share this with y'all. Social Security is now projected to be unable to pay full benefits a year earlier than expected. They're expecting it to not be able to pay full benefits in 2034, right? They're expecting it to run out. Why does that matter? Well, that matters because some of you rely on Social Security as part of your income, right? Some of you that may be your only source in retirement. I'm trying to get you prepared to calculate your net worth, calculate your financial goal, excluding your Social Security. We don't care about the Social Security. It's icing on the cake, right? It's ice cream on a brownie, right? We want you to be prepared without it, right? All right. So it says if you have a workplace retirement plan like a 401k, preferably a Roth 401k, put as much as you can in that each month. Now I'm gonna tell you now, those of you that are young, I'm gonna say 40 and younger, put as much weight as you can on the traditional side, and then on the Roth side, you could do minimal, but put as much as the company would match on the traditional side. That's for tax purposes. That's for tax purposes, right? And then the other money you can do something else with it, right? All right. Now some people tell you put some into your Roth side, but I think you should get as many tax breaks as you can. We talked about that last Saturday, right? In 2023, the maximum amount one can put away in this 401k is 22.5. That's 1875 a month, plus an extra 7,500 if you're 50 years or older. But before contributing the maximum amount to your retirement or another savings funds, consider paying down your debt. Now I'm gonna say this: when I talk to the financial planners, this is how they look at it. Consider paying down your debt and be liquid as much as possible up until the FDIC insured. So anywhere from 100 to 250, try to be liquid, right? Right. This is not financial advice. These are just things that I've learned along the way, right? So I'm just letting y'all know where you can be, what you can look at, how you should look at it. But consider getting a financial planner or at least talking to someone, right? All right, track your spending, right? Keep separate bank accounts. One strategy I use with my clients is to keep funds out of their everyday checking account and put it either in an investment account, brokerage, or an alternative savings account, money market. People tend to spend more when they see that their balances are high. Again, their balance got high for me on those stocks. I was like, going to spend that. Wow, wow, wow. Pew, pew, pew. Right? Avoid impulse purchases. Man, that's kind of hard sometimes. Sometimes you're out with your child, you're out with your boo, you're out with your sneaky link, and you like, you know what? You've been good. You deserve you deserve it. You deserve it. Let me go on and get you're worth it. You're worth it. You know, you get that sometime. All right. So now let's see what else they got in here. Oh, they'll have all his purchases. All right, so let's go over here. Let's get into it. What we all came for. A little petty tea, right? It feels like a lose lose. I have 10 million net worth. My father-in-law has dementia. I talked about it. I asked people which one we wanted to talk about last week. Then nobody want to talk about this one, right? Uh, I have 10 million net worth. My father-in-law has dementia. Am I responsible for my in-laws if they run out of money? Now this is an interesting question because this is a person who seems to be married and this is their spouse's mother and father. But they're worth 10 million and they're asking is are they responsible? Well, I think this is what it boils down to when it comes to families. Do you like your in-laws? Do you like your in-laws? Are you putting arsenic in the smoothie for your in-laws? Like, do you like your in-laws? Right? So let's get into it. They have a person who has managed their money for many years, but they are overly trusting, right? Let's pick it up. All right. It says I am. Let me hold on. Series platform. There we go. It says I'm happily married to my wife for 20 years. I am by no means a financial expert, but I do more. I do know more than the average investor. Right? How many of y'all know more than the average investor? How many of y'all know more than the average investor? Right? I do, however, worry about my in-laws. Unfortunately, my father-in-law has serious dementia and will probably need care soon. I asked my mother-in-law to let me review their finances. They have a person who has managed their money for many years, but they're overly trusting, and I have no idea what he invested in or how much he charges for management fees. I believe they've done reasonably okay so far. Now, we saw this with the other week with Trusted Needs Financial Advisors blindly, not checking. Like the one that told the lady, like, hey, don't open up the mail, it's really bad. And you're going to be upset, so don't open it. Don't do that. And she didn't open it, right? Overly trusting, right? And in my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in your basket. I'm gonna give you this little playpen, this little play area right here. All right, this your little money to play with. If you f it up, if you f up this money, I'm not broke. Maybe that's just the grandmama in me. Baby, put your money up here in your purse right here, baby. Put your money in your purse, right? Maybe that's just me, but again, we have seen this countless and countless of times. D and I talked about this before, and I think I mentioned this on the show on the show before. How many of y'all remember your grandmother paying the insurance man on the policy? He used to come by and collect on the policies every Friday. He come and collect on his policy. He just walk up the down the street in the hood with his suit on and a briefcase, collecting life insurance. Come in the house, sit down, they give him some lemonade, fix him something to eat. He sit there and he collect his money on all the policies every week for decades. That's all he did was collect his money on the policy. For us in Georgia, it was called Life of Georgia. Yep, Life of Georgia. Life of Georgia, also known as Life of Georgia headquarters, was in Midtown before being acquired by Jackson National. Right, Life of Georgia. Yep, Life of Georgia. They used to come. That man used to come by all the time, collecting that insurance policy. My grandmama had insurance on 25 people. She had, I got a policy on him. If something happened to him, I got a policy. I got a policy on him. If he die, I got a policy. All right. Charlene, you said did the policies help? No, they didn't help. No, I think my grandmama paid on a policy for my uncle for years, at least 15, 20 years. And my grandma and my mama said when they went to go cash that policy out, and she was paying on it for the last 15, 20 years, maybe even longer than that. That when she cashed that policy out, she only got like $1,000 on that policy. And she been paying that man $10, $20. I'm gonna give you 20 this week, so you ain't gotta come back and go on to pay on that policy. And then man, he come over and he write in on the policy and stuff like that, you know, and have insurance. They didn't know. They didn't know. They didn't know. They just knew they needed. They knew that when people died, they didn't want to scrape up no money. That's what they knew. But they didn't know what the value of that insurance was, right? And a lot of people out here be dying. Like, what was that group that just died? The lady with the mouth, the grandmama with the mouth that just died. She was 80 years old. She used to be like, girl, you know what you got to do to keep your man. You got to do this every day to him. Oh, what was their name? And they started a GoFundMe, even though people had been making them donations on the YouTube channel and cash apping them and sending them money and stuff like that. I forget that lady name. She just died. She used to have a little bun in the top of her head. Yeah. Yeah, Holla, Miss Holla. And then they had the nerve to go up there and put up a GoFundMe. Now you mean tell me the whole time this lady been sick, y'all ain't get no insurance? Girl, don't get me started on these people. Don't get me started on these people. Don't get me started on. Don't get me started. Right? That's kind of stuff I'm talking about. Right? And don't get me started on these corrupt family members. Don't get me started on these corrupt family members. Don't get me started on these family members that be trying to wait till people die and then get the insurance money and want to fight you over the insurance and want to fight you over the goods in the house. I need something to remember, something, such about. Man, you ain't been here 20 years to see that lady. Now you need something to remember by. Right? Don't get me started. But yes, back to the article. Insurance. It says, let's see. All right. My mother in law has not been willing to share any of this information and just says that their manager has been taking care of them for years. My concern is that my concern is that they could very, very easily be taken advantage of. Her parents are lovely people, but they are not financially savvy. They could be heading into some long years of medical expenses in the future. I'm just trying to make sure they're going to be in a position to manage those. He said, I already cover all the expenses for my entire family. I've done relatively well. I'm in my mid 50s and have a net worth of 10 million, which may seem like a lot, but I have two college educations to pay for. I also like to close my company to in another couple of years and spend more time traveling with my wife, get a nice boat and a house on the water, and try to start a new regionally capital intensive business, which will hopefully work out. Here's my question: am I responsible for paying for my in-laws' lifestyle and caretaking if they run out of money because they didn't agree to let me review their finances? Well, that's kind of selfish if you ask me. Like they ain't let me agree to, uh, and I'm like that's kind of rude. Like, well, if you know that, look, this is this is petty T talking. Tell your wife to go back to work. So she can have some money for her mama and daddy. I'm just playing. But I think that's kind of rude, right? That's just me. That's just me. Um, I just feel like it puts me in a difficult situation. My wife would pay for whatever they needed, but that just doesn't quite sit right with me, given both my offer to help with a financial review now before it might be potentially too late. Well, they may not trust you. They may not trust you, right? Before it may be financially too late. And how hard have I had to work to get to where I'm at? This money is for me, my wife, my kids. It ain't for her parents. I take care of my parents, but I ain't gonna take care of her parents. If they got it, if they pass away, we just gonna mummify them, put them on a boat, and just push it on out. We're gonna wrap them up, mummify them, and push them on out. Let them set up and see. And then what they did in the movies, and not in the what's the one with Mel Gibson, when old girl when the guy killed his girl and he went on revenge and took on what they wrapped him up in the white, put him on the boat and pushed him on out to sea. Do you silly? All right. All right. So it feels like a lose lose for me. I'm either a jerk for pushing them to share their investment situation, or I'm a jerk for not wanting to pay for all their expenses. If that ends up being the case, I know I'm fortunate to be in a financial situation I am, But that came at an expense of working endless 100-hour weeks for 25 years plus, missing birthdays, holidays, and vacations, etc. I already covered all the expenses for my entire family. Your thoughts will be welcome. Trying not to feel like a selfish jerk. Light bulb fire and push it out. Yep, Greek style. Yep. You're in a win-win situation. You have more money than most Americans, a lot more. The average net worth for Americans is around 750,000, but the median net worth is closer to 122,000. You have 10 million, which is more than enough to retire in your 50s. You work hard for it, but as you have discovered, with more money comes more responsibility, your in-laws, as well as more wants, a house, a boat, a lavish vacations, 40,000 to go to Alaska, 50 to go to Dubai, want a ball house on the water, right? Watch the boat sell off if you push it off. So I'm going to tell you what my fifth grade teacher told me when I asked her if I had to do my homework. You don't have to do anything. She replied, that is, I could turn up the next day without my homework done, but I would have probably suffered some consequences. Detention, a letter home to my parents, falling behind on my schoolwork, deterioration in my grades, and lack of trust and respect between myself and my teacher. What I'm saying is that you're under no obligation to pay for the caregiver of your for your in-laws, but a it seems like you worry about losing a portion of your wealth, while any evidence to support those concerns, b ambitions for how you spend your money are being clouded by others who you believe may ask you for a slice of the pie. In the worst case scenario, you could buy them a house to live in that will also act as an investment for yourself. You could help prevent bigger problems down the road for your in-laws by hiring an attorney who specializes in issues such as dementia, who would be a good help in advising your mother-in-law on how much she may need for her husband's end of life care and managing the role of power of attorney. This may provide the impetus for her to open up her books, look at how much money she has, it should be he or she has, or share this information with your wife. And that was it. Oh no, here it is. I don't think you're a jerk. I do think you need to place your anxieties, financial or otherwise, and your in-laws have become the recipients of those anxieties. If you didn't have in-laws, I suspect you'd be feeling anxious about other things, such as where your money is being deposited and whether it's safe, given current events in the banking sector, and feeling disappointed that you may be able to afford a house on the water, but not a more extravagant house or yacht. You could lose it all in a bad business deals. You can end up paying for the nursing care for your in-laws if they are swindled. Your bank could go under and you might not be FDIC insured for all your money. By the time you decide to invest in a house on the water, you may discover it was $2 million cheaper a few short years ago to decide to make that purchase. There are all kind of reasons you can find to feel financially insecure, troubled, or grieved. Think of all the people who wish they could help their parents if they only had a few extra bucks. Our first generation immigrants who would like to bring their parents to the U.S. Some of the world's richest have signed the Giving Pledge. Oh yeah, I know. There's a book about that. With Microsoft and all of that, right? So we're gonna keep going. You could turn a frown upside down and view it as the greatest gift of all, something that makes all those 100 hours a week worth it. So would you help your in-laws, or would you put them out to sea wrapped up in a white cloth and push the boat on off? D is single and she gonna push the boat on off. D pushing the boat off. You and me will never part, D. So okay, I'm just at. So I want to know what you're doing, ladies. You work hard and you've amassed 10 million, and your husband in-laws are sick. What you doing? You gonna get a house for him? You gonna push him off in the boat? I don't know. I be worried about y'all sometimes. I'm worried about y'all. I'm worried about y'all sometimes. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. This one was a good one. Family meeting. What we talking about, D? All right, last one, and we'll get out of here. Uh, that's pretty good. Our late son rented out a house we own without our knowledge. After his funeral, the tenant refused to leave and is squatting on our property. What should we do? Read it again. Our late son rented a house we own without our knowledge. After his funeral, the tenant refused to leave and is squatting on our property. Right? So let's get into it. How do we get the squatter out of our property so we can sell it? Right? Our son was living in a house we own in Avino, California. Where is that at, D? Avino. Avino? I want to say Avino. 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 All right, California. Unbeknownst to us, he was renting a room to a person. On Our son died on February 28th. When we found out this person was in the house, our daughter-in-law told her to leave and she refused. So our daughter-in-law shut off the water and told the city not to let anyone to turn it let anyone in to turn it on. The woman tried 3 times to turn the water on in her name, but the city refused. Our daughter-in-law turned the electricity off, but since there's no local office, we were unable to tell them to refuse anyone turning it on. After my son's funeral, my husband told her to leave. She refused, saying she is disabled and she would never be able to he that we would never be able to evict her. Ooh, y'all are ruthless out here in these streets. Plant some drugs in the backyard and call the police. Our son never owned the property. We never rented to her. How do we get the squatter out of the property so we can sell it? All right. Dear Stuck, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm also sorry for you dealing with such a messy situation after your son's passing. I don't have good news for you. California is a state with strong tenant protections. So this squatter will be a hard one to shake off. You need to hire an attorney to help you see what you can work. It's a terrible time in history of a landlord tenant relations because of the COVID pandemic. And it's brutal for many housing providers. Daniel Borstein, a San Francisco based attorney who represents property owners, blah, 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 blah. Since the pandemic era eviction moratorium was lifted, he said he's been getting a tidal wave of cases. There is pent up demand. Borston said some clients send over 25 cases and an eviction notice need to be sent. Before the pandemic, landlords generally cited not having been paid 3 months rent. Now they're trying to collect on unpaid rent over 2 years. But the issue in your case is that there is a history of a person renting. There is a history of a person renting the home, so they may not legally be a squatter. You should say that hasn't rented the home. Borsting said your squatter may be in fact a subtenant. What the hell is a subtenant? Plus, you done something that may land you in some legal trouble, turning off the utilities. Any type of behavior like that is deemed self help eviction and can get you sued severely for misconduct. You have to go to court to remove someone. So while I'm empathetic from with the family situation, the approach they the approach they're taking is totally inconsistent with the law. The best option you have right now is to approach an attorney to start the eviction process. Please hire a lawyer to make sure you don't make any mistakes, as this person seems to be well versed in the law and her rights as a squatter. Let me tell you, as a person who will have a house and you the squatter, we live in there together. We live in there together. We're gonna live in there together. I'm bringing 15 dogs in the house, and they go all shed. And ain't we don't close no doors around here. These dogs go in every room, every room. Petty T. We all living up in here. What the dog did the dog poop on your food? Move. You ain't gotta like it. What you say? The dog did what? Release the hounds. I'm getting $15. We living there. I'm staying. What? Is that your car downstairs? Get the keys one day, go open the door. I'm letting the dogs just run all in there. Poop in the car. Poop in the car. In the car. Poop in the car. Petty. Petty. 15. I'm getting 15. Ain't no two. Two won't do. Getting $15. You won't get out? Why you won't get out? Why you don't have nowhere to go? Why you don't have where your family at? Where your people's at? And you don't have no money? You say did get 5 parrots? Get them too. This is gonna be a hoard house. I'm gonna turn that into a hoard house. Turn into a hoard house. You gonna get up out of here, right? Says the lawyer may advise you to serve an eviction notice where the person gets a few days to move out. If they ignore it, you can move to the court and file an unlawful detainer suit. Then she is served with a summons where she can respond to the lawsuit. Respond? She didn't see it. The dog ate it. Get out. She got to be 5150. Yeah, I'm getting 15 huskies, and they gonna all talk. 15 huskies, 5 parrots, 15 cats. We all in there together. We all in there together. You go to the store. She go to the store and buy food. I'm feeding the dogs and the parrots their food. I'm cooking it up and feeding it to them. Petty, petty tea. They may go either way, given she has rented from your son. I don't. They say she didn't rent. He keep trying to say she rented from your son, and there's evidence of a pre-existing arrangement through her rental history. Your lawyer will investigate the history of the person's presence there, whether your son had a lease, the rental history, etc. If she has no legal right to the property, then the court will give you a default judgment. You can request a notice from the court served to the squatter to vacate the premises. She would then have to move out. You have a long road ahead if you want to clear the property and sell it again. You need to tread carefully with this person. You don't I guess summarily have the right to just change the locks or freeze them out by shutting off utilities. 15 dogs. The behavior that I've read is likely to result in liability, so I would strongly caution them against any of these self help measures, but instead do the right thing. Contact a lawyer. Go to the kennel. Go to the kennel. The hot water don't work in here no more. You get cold water, boil it on the stove. Get some iguanas. Turn living into a jungle tarantula cage and three snakes. Listen, listen. I am trying to prevent these scenarios for you, so when you get older, you don't have these things, right? Where you're like we looked at the lady that retired. Her husband had died, and she was living in her car and going to take a wash up, hitting the hot pockets in the cemetery. She hitting her hot pocket in the cemetery, right? She hitting her hot pocket in the cemetery. Who hits the hot pocket in the cemetery? You ain't got nowhere else to go. You can't hit up McDonald's. You hit your hot pocket up in the cemetery. I'm not hitting my hot pocket. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm living in my car. I'm not hitting my hot pocket up in the cemetery. Look, petty or not, some things you just got to stand for. I'm not hitting my hot pocket in the cemetery. She in the cemetery up there. I am trying to. I'm a woman. I know if I gotta hit my hot pocket, the drawers and the panties and everything, and the pants gotta be down. You going to visit somebody at that grave site and you see a woman over there hitting her hot pocket in the cemetery. You're gonna be like, is she doing this for her husband? Do she wash up at the husband grave site? Is this what she doing? I got questions. You hit your hot pocket up at the cemetery? Look, I got questions. I'm not doing that. I got questions. Don't be foolish with your finances and hitting your hot pocket up at the cemetery. That's my word. Y'all get y'all some insurance. At least have you some term insurance. Y'all need to start putting some money away. She got her cootie cat out at the cemetery. Girl, y'all remember that story? I know D, you remember that story. She riding around in the car. She pull up the Starbucks to get her something to drink, but she don't go in to hit the hot pocket at the cemetery. Don't hit your hot pocket up at the cemetery. Why she didn't go in the Starbucks and take a wash up, or or get a gym membership or something like that for $10 a month? And I don't care if she don't. I don't care if she go in there and just march around a little bit, do some shoulders or something like that, and hit the shower. I'm not going to the cemetery to have my hot pocket washed up. Nah. And then you gotta, I'm like, is that water safe with all them bodies out there? Is that water safe? I can't do it. Y'all ain't gonna get me on a tangent tonight. You ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna let you. I ain't gonna let you. Cheryl, which one we need on the shirt? Don't hit your hot pocket up in the cemetery. I was just saying. Let me make sure I covered everything. I think I did. I think I got everything in tonight. Let me double check um my document. Check my document. Meet George Jason. Mm-hmm. That one can wait till tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, speaking of financial advisor, okay, it says here, if you don't talk to your financial advisor at least this often, it could be a red flag. And this is going back to the article with the lady and the mother-in-law, father-in-law in the dementia, right? What is the optimal amount of face time with a financial planner? Having a financial planner doesn't mean you get to wash your hands of tending to your finances. Now, I hear this a lot from financial planners and financial advisors. Some of y'all will be like, set it and forget it. And then that financial advisor run off on the plug, and then, then y'all done got all your money in one pot. And you gone. In fact, having a financial planner means managing a relationship with someone who holds the very important keys to your proverbial castle. From managing budgets and investments to insurance and tax strategies, it's important to keep tabs on on your financial advisor. Run the reports. Go look them up. Go to FINRA. Look them up. Have a conversation with them. Meet them in person. Say, I want to meet you for lunch. Check them out. What kind of family they got? Everything. You turn over the keys. You turn over the keys to the castle, right? Men, if you ain't good with finances, get some help. Ladies, don't be blind. Don't sit up there and be like, he got it. I'ma stick beside him. I'ma stick beside him all you want to. Then when it's time for anything, something happened to him, you can't log into the account. You don't know the password. You didn't even know he had that account. You didn't even know he had a policy on his mistress. You didn't know the mistress had a policy on him. Communicate is what I'm saying. All right. Including with your financial advisor. Right. So it says, how often? What's the minimum amount of, what is the minimum amount you should talk to your financial advisor? Every relationship is different, right? There's no one size fit all, right? Don Grant says there should be an in-person review, at least semi-annually, and I ain't doing it. I say quarterly. Do what's comfortable for you. Roll on through here with what happened in a quarterly fashion, right? Roll on through here and tell me what's going on. Let me see. I'm logging in. Let me ask y'all this. I want to see, how often do y'all check y'all bank accounts? Once a week? Once a month? How y'all know what's going in and out? Do y'all check? Did you write she had her stuff in the shipping container? She could have used the bucket. She could have closed that door, locked herself inside, put a little light in there and hit it daily. You got a daily afro? I do too. I do twice a day. Early in the morning and before I go to bed. Let me see what's going on. What didn't hit? Oh, I didn't even know about that. Let me cut them off. Yeah, 2 or 3 times a day. I don't see how y'all don't check y'all accounts. I need to know. Maybe you got alerts set up, but I need to know. What's this deposit? Where is this deposit going from? Where did it come from? Right now, when it comes to a financial advisor, I'm telling y'all, me personally, I would do quarterly. Right, I would do quarterly until you get some rapport and get some comfort. Right, they working for you. They working for you. Let's be clear. They got other people, but they also work for you. Right, they work for you. All right. They said once or twice a year may be sufficient for others, while others may need more attention. I'm needy. I'm needy. I'm needy. It's me, Joshua. It's me. Call me back, Stephen. It's me. It's your favorite Patty T. Mm-hmm. Trying to see what that thing doing. Yep. Call me back. It's our quarterly checkup. What up? I'll be ready. Bring bring whoever you need to bring, but be there. Mm-hmm. I'll meet you at the spot. Baby, you like, hey big head. Hey big head. It's me. I need to know what's going on. I need to see. It said the frequency doesn't have to be constant from year to year. Yes, it do. We don't trust y'all like Life for Georgia, and can shift depending on your current stage. There are years you talk to your advisor every month, and there are years when you do single check-ins. When single check-ins is completely appropriate. I think 2 to 3 times a year is a good average. Like I said, quarterly. Hey, big head, what up? How you doing? I'm in town. Let's meet for lunch. Right? What should you do if you want to talk to your financial planner more often? It may be that your financial advisor doesn't realize you want to chat. If you find yourself in need or more check-ins, ask for it. I'll say this: find someone, and this is a conversation I had today. I find financial advisors passive aggressive in this sense. I'm recommending that you don't do this, but it's your money, so you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I am like, I want you to be like, honey sugar iced tea, that ain't it. You can't do that. The answer is no. I want to hear no, that ain't it. But I get it. It ain't their money. But I want to end up, I came to you for advice. So if this the move I want to make and you tell me that ain't a good move and the answer is no, I'm gonna ask you why. And you come back and you be like, cause of X, Y, and Z, dot, 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 dot. I'm like, all right, cool then. And then the time right now, maybe we plan for that. But I find most of them are like, it's your money. You do what you need to make you happy. You've worked for it. F that. You do that, you're gonna be $70,000 in the hole. It ain't gonna make sense. You're gonna put you behind on blah 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 blah. You know, I like for them to be ruthless. So if you know you need that kind of discipline and you need that kind of person, you need to tell them. Also, if you know that don't work for you, tell them. But you're gonna have to figure out what kind of what do you like to hear? And when I say what do you like to hear, what do you need to hear? Let me say it that way. What do you need to hear? Do you need someone to tell you no? Or do you need someone to be like, well, maybe could be sugar honey iced tea. We could do this. Like Pat. You could do that. But then that defeats the purpose. Right? So you gotta figure out what you need, right? And I know most of you probably gonna need somebody to be like, what was the, you? I don't know if y'all ever played spades with someone and y'all play spades and they pop you upside the head with the card. Y'all ever played spades like that? Just disrespectful. Just yeah, pop, right? Just pop like hey big head. That kind of spades. That's what some of y'all need that. And some of y'all gotta be, some of you need to be honest with yourselves as to what type of advisor you need. Like I say, some of them can be passive aggressive, but that's by design, and I get it and I understand it, right? And it says here, if you feel weird about asking them for more time, make time to check in. The more your advisor knows about the changes in life, the better the advice you'll receive when you have a question. What's more, she says one of the best reasons to have a financial advisor is that you get to delegate the minutia and the worry. Your advisor is going to make sure your investments are in line with your risk tolerance and your goals. I keep trying to tell y'all, go find out what your risk tolerance is. You aggressive, moderate aggressive, you're conservative, you're like no risk at all. So you just be like bonds, money market, I'm set. 4% for life. I'm good. I'm not doing none of that. Right. Your advisor is going to make sure your investments are in line with your risk and your risk tolerance and your goals. They're going to make sure you don't miss the important due date, like contributing to your IRA or taking your RMD. Right. Find out what your risk is and so forth. So here's one. Let's read the comments. We never had an advisor and accumulated millions in retirement plans and savings accounts. Simple formula: no debt, live below our means, auto deductions from paychecks into investments, drip. We talked about that, dividend stocks, and also low fee indexes. Only keep half of the raises and invest the rest. Never tap retirement accounts after retired. But the above take a willingness to put some restrictions on current lifestyle and commitment to stick to a plan, which is where many people fail. And some people don't have that discipline. Some people don't have that discipline. Many assume one has to live like a pauper to accumulate significant money, but we found that wasn't true. We still had a few nice vacations and we saved and paid cash for. We had a nice car and just not a new one every year. We focused on experiences rather than buying things to make us happy. We had a great life, better and less stressful than many around us who thought spending more made them happier, only to find out it didn't. For us, the key balance. For us, the key was balance. Spending in somewhat like overindulging with food. You can have a piece of the pie occasionally, but eating a whole one yourself daily isn't good for you. Plus, the joy wears off, and eating more won't bring you much more happiness. Right. So that's just what someone said. Right. And again, like I say, having a financial advisor isn't for everybody. And so you have to look at what that means for you, right? Like you said, cultivate your own garden. Nobody can grow your garden like you can, but then nobody can destroy your garden like you can, right? Nobody can destroy your garden like you can. So you need to figure out. And this is just my own take. This is not financial advice. Go get a financial planner. Pay for that one time, and then once you pay for that financial planner, stick to that plan. You make some adjustments along the way, of course, but stick to that plan, right? Well, let me see. D, what are you talking about? No, no daily tips, D. This is it. That's all I had tonight for our first installment of Foolish Financial Fridays. We talked about the foolishness. We've seen some of the petty tea. Mo just wanted to make sure that you all, I'm gonna bring you some more foolish stuff. I got 3 pages of notes of foolishness, people doing bad investments, how they lost money, not even how they lost millions, how they trusted people, and people ran off on the plug from even trusting your own spouse, and your spouse run out on you, right? You thought y'all was retiring together, you get divorced and you look and the bank accounts is empty. It happened on both sides, men and women, women and women, men and men. It happens on all sides. So again, do your due diligence. Don't be foolish with your finances on Fridays. Stay out the strip club. If you're going to the strip club, only take $50 and get some ones. Don't go to the ATM in the strip club. If you're gonna drink, have somebody else drive. You drink before you go. Don't let them ruin your high. Get the special. You ain't got to get top shelf. Get the well. I'm just trying to help you out. I know some of y'all probably got a pole in your house. So I know some of y'all got a pole in your house. So, I get it. But on that note, y'all stay safe out there. Keep your money in your pocket. And keep them people out your wallet. Until then, we'll see y'all in the morning. All right, now, bye.